Okay, the vagaries of Microsoft Teams are with us always. It's 5:02, time to call to order this meeting of the West Fargo Public Library Board of Directors. Um, could I get let's see, Tony, are you here?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Just barely. Robin?
I'm present.
Okay, and I'm here, and hang on just a second because Alana is just calling me. Hello.
So I'm hanging out in a waiting room. It's not letting me in.
Okay.
Can they see me to let me in?
Alicia, can you see any presence of Alana?
Were you able to see me before? I was in for quite a while. Okay.
I do not see.
Okay, I'm going to close
Alana.
all my browsers and start over.
All right.
And I'll just listen. Well, can I just listen to you? I'll mute myself until I get in.
Sure. I'll keep you on the line here. These things are like seances. Alana, are you there? Does anyone feel the presence of Alana? I will take a motion to approve the order of the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the order of agenda. Are there any questions or discussions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the order of the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Is there any public comment pending?
No requests.
No request for public comment. Okay. I will take a motion to approve the consent agenda, which is approval of the last two board meetings and the library financials. Is there is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion.
Okay, Tony moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Robin seconds. Any discussion of those two things? Board minutes from the 13th of February, the special meeting of the 20th, and the library financials. Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Is there any old business? There is no old business. There is no listed new business. And we'll move on to the regular agenda. We've been asked to take action on approving the signing of the partnership agreement between the National Digital Inclusion Alliance and the library. I will take a motion to approve those two things. In fact, I'll move to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Jenna.
Yes, I would just like to note I did have the city attorney review the contract. She did get back to me with a few red lines. And so we did update the document that is attached today, and that is the updated agreement with those changes. So they were in agreement with the recommendations.
Has there been anything happening out there in the world that would impact that? I thought I saw something, but I can't tell anymore.
There was one news item saying that these grants might be paused. I did reach out to Senator Kevin Kramer's office and requested comment on that. And also NDIA is currently in DC looking for more information as well.
So
the response that I got back is that so Chance Lott Senator Kevin Kramer's legislative assistant focusing on technology and telecommunications policy, said, "We understand the concern and wanted to share that at this time, there's not been any formal notice from the Department of Commerce or NTIA indicating that already obligated Digital Equity Act funds like ours are being frozen or withdrawn. They're tracking the matter and just wanted to note that nobody's been formally notified of any change in status." So they said they're monitoring. They'll let us know if anything changes and to reach out with any additional questions. So while there was one news item, we're still in kind of that holding pattern.
Yeah. Okay.
I do have one quick question. We're not planning on moving forward with anything until we receive funds, correct?
Yes, we're not planning on expending any funds until we receive funds.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments, questions about this partnership agreement? All right, hearing none, I'll move to the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have approved that. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the annual report and to direct the library staff to share that report with the City Commission on our behalf. I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Second? I'll second. Although, let's see. So let's hear from Jenna.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen here. And I have sort of a shortened version of the annual report to share with you. The highlights, if you will.
And then just scroll down.
Microsoft Edge is not responding. Are you seeing my slides where it says annual report?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So certainly West Fargo's population continues to grow year after year, and the West Fargo Public Library's usage continues to grow beyond the growth of our population. More people are using library services than ever before. We see this in our item checkouts. We circulated over 36,000 more items in 2024 than in 2023. It's really fun to see that steep incline increase in circulation. So, and this is circulation of both physical and digital items. Physical items are still the most popular. So certainly we do have a lot of digital item circulation, but by and large, it is that physical item circulation that reigns supreme. I think the return on investment, and when we're talking about how are these tax dollars being used, is really important for our commissioners to hear, but also for our residents to hear as well. Library users saved over $3.5 million in 2024 by using the library to check out items instead of purchasing them. That's huge. Ooh, Alana. So that works out to $87 per West Fargo resident or $193 per active library card. Our program participation continues to go up as well. We've seen a 21% increase since 2021. And of course, we had the pandemic in 2020, which really affected our numbers. So seeing again that steady increase is wonderful as well, particularly since we have not increased until now, just opening our satellite, but we haven't increased any program space. So the fact that we can increase our program participation without increasing our program space, when we know that that is our most significant challenge, I think is really amazing. Both our adult and youth services teams do hundreds of programs every year. So it's wonderful to see their success. For adult services, one of our most successful adult programs is our book clubs. If you were to go out on the street and survey residents and ask about what library programs they would expect for adults, you would probably hear about book clubs, and that's what people are attending. So in 2024, Adult Services added 2 new book clubs for a total of 6 book clubs each month. And as you can see, they are very well attended. We do also have technology tutoring that is going on. With our Digital Navigator grant, we're hoping to expand on that service. Currently, we are stymied by the availability of staff time. And so we really can't do much more than what we are already doing with these tech tutoring sessions. But if you look at that number of 85 one-on-one technology tutoring sessions in 2024, that's really impactful for our residents to receive that one-on-one care and support in learning the skills that they need to navigate our digital world that we live in. So kudos to the Adult Services team for their hard work in offering a wide selection of programs that our community really enjoys and benefits from. We had 2,413 total attendees at in-library adult programs in 2024. In youth services, again, if you were to go out on the street and survey people, what is a library program that you would expect for youth? People are probably going to say story time, and that is our most popular program in youth services. Last year, we added another session for a total of 3 weekly sessions to help with overcrowding. Again, that space issue. Shout out to the entire youth services team, especially our superstar, Sarah, who is a favorite of our Storytime families. Youth services has had 8,844 in attendance at in-library youth and family events in 2024. That's just incredible. And over half of that is story times. Outreach is really important to West Fargo because we are a long, skinny city. And so there are lots of transportation barriers for our folks. We delivered to 7 daycares and 4 senior living facilities in 2024, and over 2,500 books were delivered. With our summer outreach program, 2024 was our last summer with the Little Red Reading Bus. But with help from the mayor and our friends at First International Bank, we were able to secure funding for our new Library on Wheels vehicle. We're excited to continue that legacy of the little red reading bus with this new vehicle that we can operate year-round. Last year, we visited 5 parks each week, and we had 1,605 visitors at those bus stops. And it's not pictured here, but the Library on Wheels also made stops in the fall and winter of 2024, and we are excited to expand on that moving into the future. People love our outreach services, but they also really love visiting the library. We're seeing more people than ever visiting our actual building. Almost 250,000 visits have been made to the library since 2020. Well over 60,000, close to 61,000 visits in 2024. It probably is a lot more than that, but you might remember that our door counter was broken for several months or was misaligned. And so the first few months were miscounted, January through April. So anyway, those are a few of the highlights of some of our statistics from 2024. It was a wonderful year, lots of growth, good success in programs, circulation, really all areas of the library. And I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have as well.
Any questions or comments for Jenna regarding the annual report? Can't argue with success.
Yep, sounded pretty good.
It did. Thank you, Jenna. And on behalf of the board, I will make that leap of faith. On behalf of the board, please convey our thanks to the staff.
Yes.
Did you vote on presenting it to the commission yet?
Oh, no, not yet. That's right. We did need to take action. Okay. All of those in favor then of approving the annual report and directing the staff to share it with the commission, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Dandy, thank you. The strategic plan core values and areas of focus. I will take a motion to approve the 2025-2030 strategic plan.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the strategic plan. When is this scheduled to be reported?
The final document.
Yes.
So, Larry, at our discussion last week, you had requested that we kind of go through an overview of the strategic plan at this meeting and then approve implementation at the next one. Certainly we can approve it at this one.
I would prefer to wait till the next meeting because it will take time to read.
Sure.
Okay.
So let me, if it's all right with the board, I will kind of give you a summary here where we're at. So I'd like to start with what we did. Any strategic plan really starts with the data and the data collection. So we surveyed library users, non-users, and stakeholders like the board of directors, friends of the library, and staff. We engaged with patrons at the service desk at the point of them checking out or asking us questions. We asked them questions as well. We reviewed insights from our previous planning process and looked at data from the last 5 years to identify trends in use, circulation, and program attendance. We also looked at what we had learned from our recent space needs assessment conducted by Library Planning Associates and considered the values and needs identified by other entities who've recently completed work in the city of West Fargo, like West Fargo Public Schools, to ensure that our services are aligning with broader community goals as well. We also collaborated with hundreds of community members, including library users and non-users. That's kind of a repeat there. In narrowing down a list of potential values to the 3 core principles that serve as the foundation for the 2025 to 2030 strategic plan. So the real super brief summary of what we learned is West Fargo is a community of readers that value the library as a place of personal and academic growth. The community appreciates the welcoming atmosphere, quality customer service, and the library's impact on their lives and the lives of their children. We heard a lot of praise for existing youth and adult programming, and also comments about wanting more programs tailored to their unique needs, interests, and goals. Library users want our services, collection, and facilities to evolve with their needs. We heard a lot about the need for more space for meeting rooms and programs. And we also know from our space needs assessment and from the data that our library is undersized both in space and collection for the population that we serve. In looking at the data collected and what we learned, our current mission and vision seem to align, and so there didn't seem to be a need to change those. So our current mission is, as a civic resource, the West Fargo Public Library's mission is to provide equitable access to resources and opportunities so that residents can achieve their goals, explore their passions, and develop social connections. Our vision: we envision a library whose services ensure that every person has resources and opportunities to learn, meet, share, read, play, and create. And now to get back to those core values. After all of our surveying and compiling, it kind of filtered down to 3 main areas: compassion, community and connection, and growth and learning. Compassion we've defined as ensuring equitable access to resources, services, and programs by reducing barriers, meeting people where they are, and fostering an inclusive, welcoming environment that respects privacy and adapts to meet the needs and values of our diverse community with thoughtfulness and care. Growth and learning at the West Fargo Library means fostering lifelong learning for all ages through diverse programs, resources, and spaces, while ensuring the library grows sustainably to meet the evolving needs of the community. So growth as in growth for the individuals using our spaces and resources, as well as growth of the library. Community and connection at the West Fargo Library means serving as a hub for community engagement by fostering partnerships, connecting people to resources and opportunities, and providing spaces and programs that encourage social connections, civic involvement, and meaningful interactions that strengthen our community. And that brings us to areas of focus. So within each of those 3 value areas, we have some areas of focus. So within compassion, we have access to the library. Focusing on access to the library means ensuring every member of our community can use, benefit from, and feel welcome at the West Fargo Public Library. And representative services means that we are offering programming and materials that reflect and serve the people of West Fargo. And that goes back to our data about people wanting to see themselves and their unique needs, interests, and values in our collection and in our programming. Lifelong learning, providing programs, resources, and spaces that support learning at every age and stage of life. And then growth of the library means planning for sustainable, community-aligned expansion of library services that balances the evolving needs with fiscal responsibility and long-term impact. Social connections means strengthening our community by creating opportunities for people to meet, share, and engage with one another. And community partnerships means embracing the library's role in linking people to local organizations, resources, and opportunities that support their individual or family goals. So just kind of a graphic image to summarize where we think we're going. The board might remember when we introduced this plan, the model for this plan. This is modeled after the Salt Lake City Public Libraries plan. It's meant to be very flexible as technology and society and things are changing so rapidly. We have found that a strategic plan almost becomes obsolete as soon as it's printed. And so being more values based and having these areas of focus will give us a little bit more flexibility to adjust to the evolving needs of the community while still staying true to what the community told us that they want and need from our organization. We already have some of the work done, but we plan to continue to do some more work with staff in those areas of focus to really break out what that looks like for us each year as far as programming, collection, our services, our service models. And then we'll be able to report back in each of those focus areas to say this is how we are achieving our strategic plan. So it might not be a hard and fast metric like previous plans where we have said we are going to increase our summer reading program sign up by this percentage. We're saying we are going to serve the community in this area of focus and this value, and here's how we did that. Happy to answer any questions, hear any thoughts from the board.
Apparently not. I'd ask the members of the board to take a close look at this in the next 4 weeks and submit any questions, comments, concerns directly to Jenna. And then we can talk further about it at the next board meeting. And the next board meeting will be on the 8th of May. Thanks, Jenna. So we will withhold our approval, our formal approval of this until the next meeting. Okay. Budget timeline overview. Jenna, the budget timeline memo.
Here is in the memo that I attached in the board documents, I gave a bit of a condensed version of what the city has shared for a timeline for the budget process for this year. So April 18th is the due date for all city departments to submit their sort of first draft and FTE requests. And then April 21st through May 2nd, Finance will be working on compiling departmental budgets and work through some of the different budget sections. HR will be reviewing FTE requests for step and grade calculations through the middle of May as well. The beginning of May through the middle of May, departments will be having budget review meetings with the city administrator and the finance director. So that's where I will sit down with those two gentlemen and kind of work through what our requests are, how we landed at our numbers, and answer any of their questions so that if commissioners ask them about anything, they know what's going on. I can also, get my questions answered there as well. Then May 19th through the 6th, the city administrator is planning to review a first draft of the city budget. So the full city budget with commissioners, with a plan to present a version 1 preliminary budget draft at that June 16th city commission meeting. Depending on how discussion goes, there will be 2, 3, 4 versions of those drafts. But they're looking at September 22nd city commission meeting to present a probably 4th and final budget, full city budget. It's possible that the commission could decide to pass the budget at that meeting, or they could wait until the next meeting on October 6th. That would be the last regular meeting that they would have to approve the final city budget and set the tax levy before needing to report that. So for us, what that means is in May, we'll need to have our preliminary budget ready for approval, June at the very latest. And then we'll work on our versions as well over the course of the summer. And my first year as director, the city requested we have our budget finalized before they have their budget finalized. Last year, they requested that we finalize our budget after the city finalizes theirs. We'll see what happens this year. That that seems to be a bit of a work in progress each year. And we have a new finance director, and so it could be that he just hasn't had time to weigh in on that particular piece yet. I think it worked okay either way. With us finalizing our budget after the cities, it just meant that we had to update a couple pages in the city budget book. And that was really not a big deal. So, any questions on that budget process?
There we go. Unmute yourself, Larry. Not that I'm seeing from the members. Things are okay. Robin, there was a story in the paper or on the papers, what used to be the paper's website this morning by April Baumgarten about other municipalities in North Dakota who suddenly had federal funding disappear for projects. Has that happened to West Fargo? Is there a, okay.
Yeah, so from what I'm just had a meeting with Dustin here. From what I'm hearing, some of our brick grants are being canceled or whatnot. So we've been in the process of applying for those. One for a redundant lift station up north, and then something else with the core area with another lift station, I believe. So kind of putting work on hold with that stuff and seeing what happens.
Okay.
It's kind of focus on what can be controlled.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Robin. I appreciate that. The director's report.
I would also add the grant funds that the city was supposed to receive to purchase some electric vehicles has also been canceled.
Yep, forgot about that one.
Yeah, and charging. They were going to put in some charging stations as well. So finances, we are 24% expended year to date, so right on track with that. Our satellite is open. Thank you so much to the board for attending our opening ceremony the other day. Things are running smooth as butter at that new location. I wanted to share some of the feedback that we have heard about the satellite. One city staff member said this is going to be dangerously helpful, remarking on how easy it's going to be to pick up books for their children who are avid readers. And I do have to say that there are several staff members that I see in there constantly picking up books and dropping them off for their kids in particular. One patron came in with her family and complimented the location, saying she's excited, thinks it's going to be a great success in the south part of town. An elderly patron was thrilled about the accessibility of that location. The signage was clear, and in particular, very excited to not have to use an elevator to get to books or a bathroom. Another patron commented that they liked how it was easier to find books with a smaller selection. It wasn't as overwhelming for them. That's something that I hadn't considered before, but certainly there is a chunk of the population where having such a large space with lots of books could be overwhelming. And so having an additional choice in a smaller location to still get access to all the things, I think is really special. There was also a gentleman that came in to see if this was a place he could work on his computer, read the paper, and drink a cup of coffee. He said the coffee shops are too noisy. He was just looking for a place where he could go to work. Absolutely. So we expect him to be back and to become a regular. So the first 8 days that the satellite was open to the public, physical circulation in that space, 224, door count over 350. We made 4 library cards. We had a study room reservation. I think that's wildly successful. I will say the door count is a little high, because some of that was some of the tours coming through, people just wanting to see the space. So it wasn't all people coming in to use the library, but certainly people coming in to check out the space.
It's a good thing that that many people were introduced to the library, though.
Yeah. In February, we did see a little bit of a dip in circulation if you take a peek at that red line there. But in March, we are back up higher than previous years again. And the door count is way up from 22 and 23 numbers. And I did put a note on here again that that satellite door count number does reflect the FM chamber tours coming through. Library card signups. So again, we saw that little bit of a dip in February, and now we're back up again in March. It must have been really cold in February. People weren't in the libraries much. Again, you know, library card sign up is the highest rate we've had in March in the last 5 years. That's wonderful. In youth programming, it's been really wonderful to see our teen D&D program, and the popularity that they're seeing. They're planning on adding an additional day, just due to the popularity. Second grade tours have been happening. There have been kids everywhere, all over the library, all month. They're getting a behind the scenes tour, so they get to come behind the circulation desk. They get to see where the books are processed, and do an activity and have some time to explore the library as well. Our youth services team has also been planning special events when no school days are happening, whether that's for professional development or holidays. And in March, they had spring crafts, a Lego day, and story times, an overflow of children in the library on those days. In the picture is Sarah, our Storytime superstar. Teeter Tots is the most popular story time. So that's that toddler age group. We're seeing 60 to 70, sometimes more, attendees at that particular story time. Adult programming has been having really great success with D&D as well. D&D One Shot is not like an extended campaign. It's you can come and try it for one night. So it's just a one-time thing. They also had a wonderful murder mystery escape room recently as well. I also wanted to share some tech tutoring patron feedback here. The patron said they were here last week. It sounds like they're a repeat customer, and they wanted to give an A+ to both staff members that they had worked with. They felt confident that they could get help with any question. Speaking of superstars, Cass is our outreach services coordinator, and she is thrilled that we have the specialty Acor shelving now installed in the library on wheels. This means that we can bring more items when we are out in the community. And not only can we bring more items, but it is easier to browse for patrons when they are on these book trucks. It's like browsing books on a shelf. I am very thrilled that we are also expecting less staff injuries from loading and unloading. We have that ramp, so we can just roll these loaded carts up into the back of the van, and then they lock into place inside the van. Our technical services team is crazy efficient, and they are always tackling projects to make sure people can access things as quickly as possible and find things as efficiently as possible. They're currently working on replacing faded large print labels. So with our big windows, and some labels are superior to others, we're finding that some of those large print ones have faded to the point where they're not super legible anymore. So they're working through that whole collection to replace those. When we moved to multi-site, so with the opening of the satellite, we also transitioned our collection to what's called a floating collection. This means that if you check something out at one location and return it to the other, it can just stay there. It's just one big shared collection that floats back and forth. That transition has gone really smoothly. Big thanks to Odin for helping us out with a lot of that on the back end, but also our technical services team has done quite a bit of that magic as well. They also helped merge the Little Red Reading Bus collection. That's one that we had separated out previously. And when we switched to that floating collection, they did a big weed to get rid of, we didn't need 12 snowman picture books that were all of the same. So we did a bunch of those things out and merged that in with our main collection. A little legislative update for you as well. 1254 was a bill proposed by the state library, which would allow all North Dakota residents to apply for a state library card. That has now passed both chambers. That's great news. In property tax news, 1176 has passed both chambers, and it's going to cap property tax levy increases at 3% with an exemption for new growth. There were some new amendments that were added on, and so it is being sent back to the House for approval. If the House doesn't like what the Senate did with those amendments, then a conference committee will be formed to iron out the differences there. 1013 is the budget bill for the state library, and included in that is funding for the creation of an ILL bridge. If this passes, which so far we're hopeful, that ILL bridge will become a common catalog. ILL means interlibrary loan. So when our residents want to borrow books from, say, the Bismarck Library or the Minot Library, there will be a common catalog for those purposes. This will be a cost savings and time savings for libraries all across the state. Odin will take that service into its portfolio and manage that. Currently, that bill is in Senate appropriations. So it passed on one side in the House. Now it's in the Senate. It's in appropriations. There was committee work today in Senate appropriations, and I didn't see that there was a vote.
Does this mean any kind of separate database, or is it just tying some different ones together for one search?
I don't think I would have an accurate answer for that,
Okay.
but I can find out and get back to you.
Okay.
And then 2307 is the library bill that's gotten the most news. This is in House appropriations currently. An amendment was just introduced to remove the previous section 6, the technology section, about age verification software for digital materials. So that was going to be for, say, our Libby and Overdrive collection, any of the databases. The bill was calling for Odin to add age verification software to make sure that only adults had access to certain things. There was a fiscal note attached because of that section. It was going to be very difficult to implement. And so the amendment that's been introduced is removing that section, asking for that age verification software, and instead has added sections requiring compliance with the Child Internet Protection Act for public libraries, and then another section for public schools. We already have filtering on our computers, so we would be compliant already. And that would potentially remove that fiscal note.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah. It is National Library Week. So this is a wonderful week highlighting the valuable role of libraries, librarians, library workers in making our communities wonderful places to live, work, play, and grow. Tuesday was National Library Workers Day, just recognizing library professionals for their expertise in transforming communities and instilling a love of lifelong learning. A few events coming up related to the value of libraries would be a screening of the documentary Free for All, the Public Library at the Fargo Theater on Wednesday, April 23rd at 7 p.m. I will be participating with Tim Dirks, the director of the Fargo Public Library, and Megan Krieger, the director of the Moorhead Public Library, in a panel discussion following the showing of the film. And that's hosted by Prairie Public.
Good God.
Civic West is also hosting a community conversation about libraries. So Larry and I will be talking about the state of the West Fargo Library and our hopes and dreams for the future as well. Thursday, April 24th at 7 p.m. at the West Fargo Fire Department.
Sounded like a good opportunity, Larry, for you to plug for a new library.
Well, yes, I do plan on taking that opportunity.
All right, any questions, board?
Hearing none? Thanks, Jenna. Appreciate that. I should have added this under new business, but I will take this opportunity to ask the board members present if they wish to go back to holding meetings in person at the new City Commission chambers. Comments, questions, concerns?
Yes, I think we should.
Works
Okay.
for me.
All right. Well then, the next board meeting is on Thursday, May 8th. And I'll see you there.
It's, I haven't really looked closely at my calendar there. I don't know if I'll be here. Will there be some opportunity in some cases to come in remotely to some of these meetings? Although I like the idea of doing this, by the way, don't get me wrong.
Yes, my understanding is that we still will have capacity to join via Teams.
Okay, summer's coming.
Perhaps Robin would have a little bit more insight, having participated in meetings in there. Has it worked well to have people join via Teams?
Yes, it's happened, I think, twice this week, and it works. It comes down to people's comfort level with technology.
I was at one of these meetings, I think, and I don't remember audio, visual being there, but audio was there, right?
Yep, the audio is there. It's just kind of how things are shared with the computers and stuff, we have someone sharing a laptop with the agenda items that we're going through, and they're not sharing a team screen, which would show a face of whoever's virtual.
Okay. Just wondering what
All
was
right.
happening.
Well, we'll see what happens. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make
Move to
this
adjourn.
motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll take that as Robin moving to adjourn and Tony
Okay.
seconding that motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, well, I will see you face to face more or less, heaven willing, next month. So have a good evening.
Thanks, guys.